Hello Capricorn and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements looking at your recent past, your current energy, and your immediate future, answering the question, what do you need to know right now in order to move forward in alignment with your higher self? Friendly reminder that these are general readings and they are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and leave what does not. Last thing, any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading or coaching session with me is in the description box below. All right, Capricorn, let's jump on in. Let's start with looking at your recent past. What has Capricorn been dealing with? Recent past here for you, Capricorn. Changes. Changes in truth. I feel like this is kind of this energy of things coming to the surface, realizations, or like things coming out, like literally maybe truth coming out that caused you to either make changes or that then led to certain changes taking place. And I feel like these changes most likely have probably felt a little bit uncomfortable. I mean, change is uncomfortable, but that doesn't necessarily mean it is a bad thing. However, like I said, with this truth card, I do feel like certain things, I mean, and I even kind of see it with like the moon, because this is a moon rising card. It's like certain things coming to light, like I said, kind of coming to the surface and being revealed, which led to certain changes. Maybe it was like, I don't know, it also could be things that were hidden from you for a while, coming to light. But let's see where Capricorn is at now. So what is Capricorn's current energy like? Current energy for Capricorn, you have focus, which watch for signs. Ooh. Focus with watch for signs. I feel like right now you're probably feeling a little bit lost, or maybe not lost. That might not be the best word, but like unsure of where you're headed, unsure of what's next. And I feel like this watch for signs card and this focus card, it kind of combined creates this energy of discernment, needing to be very discerning about where you're giving your energy and attention right now. It's almost as if there is a new path of some sort that's opening up for you, but it's kind of like that energy of like you'll miss it if you're not open to it or paying attention to it. So I feel like whatever this is, it's kind of taking you, it's like taking you to better things, but I also feel like you don't want to miss this opportunity. Now, one of the things that I talk about a lot on this channel is that nothing that is meant for you will ever will ever be behind you. You will never miss what is meant for you. So it's not like if you miss this opportunity, you'll never have another chance again. Okay, that's not how I want this to be taken. But I do very much feel as if there are new opportunities or like a specific path, a specific opportunity that like you're being guided toward. But again, it's like pay attention or you might miss it. Interesting. Okay. So let's see, what does Capricorn need to know about their future energy? Where is this all leading, right? That is the question. Where is this all taking Capricorn? Protection, avoid drama. And then you have this intuition card. Okay. I feel like with this avoid drama card, it's almost like you're being led away from like drama and chaos and toward more peace. And this protection card, yeah, it's kind of, I mean, I know it's literally just kind of a full moon card here, but this focus card, like when we talked about in your current energy, it's like this new path kind of, being presented to you, but watch out, you might miss it. I feel like this protection is knowing that that path is it's very protected. It's very meant for you. And I feel like it's a path toward more peace. Maybe it's in your relationships, your finances, just in general, like maybe if you've kind of struggled with anxiety and I feel like that's what, maybe certain things came out here that caused these changes to have to happen, right? Because these situations didn't align with your peace. It's like this, maybe there were certain situations that were taking away from your peace or creating more chaos or negativity in your energy. And it's almost like you're being guided toward more peace here. It's really good because this future energy is very light. And where you're coming from is very heavy. And so I feel like that's why that's why you're needing to pay attention, because, when we're going through changes, we typically are given this opportunity to either repeat or evolve, right? And if we aren't careful, if we're not, consciously, intentionally making decisions, we might have a tendency to dip back into old cycles or similar, familiar cycles, behaviors, which is going to lead to essentially the same kind of outcomes. So when we're going through changes, when things in our life are changing, it's really an opportunity for us to do things differently, to show up a little bit differently, to believe a little bit differently, to think a little bit differently, which will ultimately lead us to a different outcome. So I feel like that's what this is about. It's like things are changing for a reason. Let them change and trust that they're taking you to better, more aligned spaces that are meant for you. Spaces that are going to, there's the focus card on the bottom of the deck. But yeah, man, you're being definitely drawn to like needing to pay attention. Okay, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Okay, overall energy here for Capricorn. This is the overall theme of this reading for Capricorn. What does Capricorn need to know in order to move forward in alignment with their higher self? Release. And you have transformation and air. Letting go of the old. I mean, it's kind of vague though. It's like letting go of the old, making room for new, going through a transformation. But then you have this air card. It's like everything is really up in the air. And I feel like that brings a lot of anxiety about where you're headed. One of the things we really have to remember is that our ego desires control. And it desires control by whether or not you're aware of it, by putting you or attracting you to situations that are very familiar, that maybe don't make you happy, but that you can survive, because your ego's primary goal is survival. And your ego isn't to be demonized. We all need an ego. Your ego is what keeps you from jumping in front of traffic, in front of a bus. But you don't want to let your ego make decisions for you, because your ego will always draw you to what's familiar, while your soul will always guide you outside of that familiarity into what is truly meant for you. And I feel like through this kind of transformative, this feels like your life is changing in really big ways. And through this, it's almost like you're being asked to let go of what doesn't serve you. And what is really hard about that is that being very honest about what isn't serving you. A lot of times we don't want to be honest about what doesn't really fit in our life or doesn't really fit us anymore, because change is really hard, and letting go of anything is difficult. Even if it does mean opening yourself up for better things, like it's still hard to let go. But I feel like that's what this is really about, is kind of like recognizing that where you've been has been very chaotic and very heavy, and has, taken away from your peace and maybe added a little bit more negativity to your life, and almost allowing yourself to let go of that and open yourself up to to things that do add to your peace. You know, nothing in this world can create our peace. Nothing can create our happiness. No relationship, no amount of money, nothing like that can actually be the source of your happiness or your peace long term. But the things in your life should absolutely add to your peace, should add to your happiness, and not be something that is consistently taking away from it or making you feel like making your life harder, essentially. Because life is already hard as it is. We don't need a relationship or a job or, you know, friends or whatever the case might be to make it even harder, because then that just leads, that's just adding unnecessary suffering. Okay, so let's dive in here to the story a little bit more. Capricorn, let's take a look at this past energy, changes with truth. So what was Capricorn dealing with? I want to know what this truth was really, like what was brought to the surface here. And maybe honestly that might not be for me to know. I don't want to get too nosy. You know, it's definitely more for you to know. But let's see here. Past energy for Capricorn, changes with truth. Page of Wands in reverse. What else about this energy? The Chariot. The Queen of Cups in reverse. Okay, I want one more because this is kind of confusing. You've been dealing with some really chaotic energies, Capricorn. Like people maybe even. Okay. So this Hierophant, again, is kind of like awakening to deeper truths, awakening to new perspectives, seeing things from a different, you know, through a different lens, from a different place. And I feel like you were in spaces for a while where, the best way that I can say this is like, it was all about other people, all about other people's needs or what other people expected from you or what other people wanted. And I feel like for a while you kind of just maybe put your head down and did it or put up with it or chose it. You know, maybe a part of you felt like that's just kind of the way it was supposed to go, or maybe a part of you felt like, you know, you'd never be able to find better. And I feel like you got to a certain place where you were like, I don't know, it feels like something was revealed in some way. I don't know if that's like you all of a sudden like saw things clearly, like had an actual awakening, or if it's like, you know, something actually happened that led to that. But I what I kind of see is this just like coming out of a sleep and being like, what is going on? Like you kind of look around and you're like, I'm not happy here, or this isn't what I want, or what, there's no room for my needs here, or like something's got to give. And I don't know how long it took you to get to this place, or, you know, what necessarily happened, but I don't feel like that's really the point. I feel like you got to this point where you realized things needed to be different, but it's difficult because I feel like however things were, they had been like that your whole life, because this Page of Wands in reverse energy kind of speaks of like inner child wounding. So maybe you were in chaotic spaces or dynamics or relationships or whatever the case is that were very familiar to you because it was like you were used to this growing up, or like that's what you had only ever experienced. But it feels like you got to this place where you're like, there has to be more. And I think that that's kind of what just in general a spiritual awakening is really about is, and I'm not saying this is necessarily a spiritual awakening. It could have been, you know, there's so many different things, so many different ways we could label it or experience it. But, you know, a spiritual awakening is kind of realizing that there's got to be more to life than just survival, right? And there absolutely is, but sometimes, you know, we lose sight of that because, like I already said, life can be really hard. You know, sometimes survival is the only thing we have control over. So I don't necessarily know what happened here, but I do definitely feel as if the changes that are taking place in your life are trying to evolve your life in some way, because so much I feel like of it has been, like I said, about other people, or maybe being who you thought you needed to be for other people, and kind of like getting this place where you're like, I don't recognize myself, or I don't feel like I fit in here, or this isn't what I want or where I want to be. Maybe it was what you wanted at one point, but that's changed, and that's okay. You know, it's okay to outgrow things. It's okay to want different things for your life. It's okay to change your mind. I think that that's something that we need to be a little bit more comfortable with in our society, is getting comfortable with changing perspective or changing your mind, and not, you know, well, you said, you know, 3 years ago that this is how you felt. Well, people change, feelings change, emotions change. Like, we have to learn to kind of adapt to that. And I feel like that's what's happening here, is it's like the environment that you were in doesn't suit the person that you are now, or were in, and maybe are still in. I don't know. So that's why I feel like, I don't know. And I feel like I'm supposed to be being vague, because this could be, for some of you, this could literally be a relationship. For other people, it could be a job. For other people, it could be your life. Like, just looking around being like, this isn't what I want. So it's like I'm vague. This is a general reading though, so I feel like it's hard to get too specific. But yeah, I feel like this was a very emotional time too though. And I think that one of the biggest things that's necessary, and this has kind of been coming up a lot for me personally too, so kind of feel like maybe I should share it with you anyway, is that give yourself grace. You know, change is hard, being a human is hard, life is hard. I feel like I've said that a lot. But being hard on yourself only makes it more difficult. So give yourself grace for this transformation that you're going through, because I do feel like a lot is changing in your life, and there's a lot of emotions and a lot of things that are going to kind of come with that. So where is Capricorn at right now? It's like breaking out of the familiar and stepping into the unknown in some way, but that's why you're needing to be very discerning right now and pay attention to where you're headed. Because I don't think you want to go back to where you were, right? You don't want to swap out one unhealthy relationship with another. You don't want to swap out one soul-sucking career with another, right? You want to actually find what's meant for you. And I feel like that's what this is about. Again, it's creating more peace in your life. All right, current energy here for Capricorn. I want the cards to turn all the way around or hit the table. That's why I didn't take that one. Current energy for Capricorn, please. The 8 of Wands. Things are moving quickly. In your energy, maybe these changes are quick. Maybe this has all happened really fast. Oh, yeah. And I feel like that's why... Okay, hang on. Let's get one more. Because this King of Pentacles is that... Yeah, because there's the Hierophant again. Ooh, 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 ooh. And then there's the 9 of Pentacles. High Priestess in reverse, 5 of Wands. 5 of Swords. Okay. This King of Pentacles, like, yes, it obviously is kind of Earth sign Capricorn energy, but I also really see it as this reminder to stay grounded, because when things are up in the air in our life and we're going through a lot of change, like I kind of mentioned at the very beginning, your ego is going to want to cling to control. It's going to want to figure out how it can, make things predictable again, so that you can feel safe in your environment. And I feel like the worst thing that we can do when we're going through change is cling to something else that isn't good for us, which is actually very, very common, because during those periods, like I said, of change, there's a lot of uncomfortable emotions that arise, and we don't like to feel those. So instead, what we'll do is we'll try to find a way to cover those up, whether it's jumping from one relationship to the next, or, like I said, it could be anything. And so that's why I feel like right now, this is very much a period of doing things differently, approaching your life differently. The other day, I don't remember what brought this on, but I was doing a lot of reflecting, and I was thinking about how, over the last, it's been 3 years now, but I've just completely transformed my life. I literally went from like the lowest point I've ever been to where I am at now, which I personally feel is the best my life has ever been. And I was thinking about it. I was like, how did I really do that? Like, thinking back, it's just kind of like one foot in front of the other, one step at a time. And I realized that the number one way that I did it was I acted different. Like, I stepped into a whole new version of myself. And I was like, I'm going to make decisions in ways that I've never made decisions before. I'm not going to make the same decisions. I'm not going to come from the same place. I'm not going to repeat old habits. I'm going to do things differently, and I'm going to just see where that led. And that's exactly what led me to the life that I'm living now. Is the decisions that I made were different, that my approach was different, my mindset was different, my beliefs were different. And it doesn't happen overnight. But I think a lot of the times when we're going through change, it's not necessarily the universe's way of spooking us or trying to make things hard on us. It's really an opportunity for us to change, for us to be willing to step into just a new way of doing things. And I feel like right now you have this opportunity. It's like an opportunity to change your life. Like, that's what this feels like. And I think that sounds really cheesy, because it's like, well, how do I know, it's going to work? Like, what if it doesn't work? I've had opportunities before. And that's kind of what life is about, right? You never really know for sure. It's all about kind of dipping into that faith and those periods of the unknown. But with this Nine of Pentacles, I feel like you're really being given this opportunity to create something that really aligns with your soul. Again, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job or a career path, whether it's literally just life in general, I feel like you're being given this opportunity to be led to something that's really, really meant for you here. But the number one way that you're going to create new is by being new, by doing different things, trying new things, approaching your life from a different perspective. And especially because with this Eight of Wands, like I feel like things are happening really fast. Your ego is going to hate that, because it's so unpredictable, so out of your control. So instead of trying to cling to old habits, patterns, behaviors, relationships for control, surrender into that. That's the opportunity to let go and to give it over to something bigger than you, and say, universe, spirit, God, higher self, whatever is your spiritual connection of your own understanding, being able to say, I give this over, and I'm just going to trust that this is going to lead me to better things, and I'm going to release old habits, old behaviors, old spaces, old places, and I'm going to step into a new version of me. And that new version of you is going to take you to wherever it is that you're trying to go. So it's kind of a cool place to be for you right now, Capricorn. Just kind of, like I said, being in this kind of new opportunity, or this opportunity to create new. But like I said at the very beginning, paying attention, being discerning so that you don't miss it, so that you don't go back to old things, or, step back into something that isn't necessarily the best thing for you, or that ultimately is keeping you from being able to be your happiest, healthiest, most abundant self. All right, what does Capricorn need to know moving forward? Protection with avoid drama. What can Capricorn expect moving forward should they choose to move forward in alignment with their higher self? Because again, it's like you are so protected. Your path is so protected. What does Capricorn need to know moving forward? Oh, I like the way that came out. Three of Pentacles. It was very intentional. It was very much like boom. Oh, I like this. If that's saying what I think it is, which I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, because there's the sun. So Three of Pentacles with the sun. Okay. Yeah, Capricorn, you really have a choice here. It's this is evolve or repeat for sure. Because I feel like you have so much more available for you when it comes to like abundance and happiness and joy and love and all of the wonderful things that this life has to offer than you even realize. But I feel like, I don't want to say necessarily you've settled, because we don't, settling is such a strong word, and I think that it kind of has this hint of blame, or like you've chosen to settle in some way, which I don't think is what this is really about. But I do feel like it's almost as if you're being given this opportunity to believe that you are deserving, capable, supported, on the path to more, or to go back to old patterns, old behaviors, old cycles. Now, here's the thing. You need to know that if you do that, if you do go back to old things, that doesn't mean you're going to ruin your chance at being happy, okay? We always have the opportunity to start over. We always have the choice to choose again, okay? We always will. That will never pass you. However, when it comes to creating the life that we deserve and that we desire, it's about believing in that life despite the fear, despite the unknown, despite the second guessing, despite the doubt. All that stuff is still there, right? It doesn't really go away. But I feel like, because I asked, should you choose to move forward in alignment with your higher self, what can you expect? You had this Three of Pentacles and the Sun being the first two cards out. This is like pieces falling into place. And also I see with this Three of Pentacles, this is having all of the support that you need, being able to know that you are fully supported and guided by something bigger than you, and one step at a time taking steps in that direction. But the thing is that this is going to require, to create this, which is absolutely possible for you, it's going to require for you to show up as a new version of you. Your old ways, your old habits, your old unhealthy patterns, your old cycles, that's not going to work for you if you want to create better in your life. That was one of the number one things that I had to learn on my path. And I think that we all have to learn that whenever we grow and evolve and expand, is we have to understand that what we've been doing isn't leading us to where we want to go. So we have to figure out what we can do different to get to wherever we want to be. And I think that that's what this period of your life is really about. Now, I do want to make a little bit of a disclaimer here and say that I don't want to take away from your experience, and I don't want to make you feel like what you've been doing is something that you should be ashamed of, okay? Because that's what growth is all about. It's about doing the best you can with the knowledge and the information and the support that you have at the time, right? So it's not saying what you've been doing is wrong, or, you should be, like I said, ashamed or feel guilty for what you've been doing. But it is saying, taking a look at the role that we play in our own suffering is the only way that we can create a better life for ourselves. And when we are willing to get real with ourselves and say, how can I show up better for me and for the life that I truly desire? That's where we start to create it. Otherwise, we get complacent and we fall into old patterns and old cycles that don't make us happy. It's not that you're doing anything wrong, but it's that you're not in places that you deserve to be. And there are places, spaces, relationships, jobs out there that need you, that need your time and your energy and your value, because you have so much to bring to the table, but you have to believe in those, right? The universe is trying to take you away from chaos and into more peace, but you have to let that happen. And I think that that's hard, because that requires kind of letting go of control, but you have a lot to look forward to as long as you're willing to take steps in that direction. Which brings me to the extended, where we are going to jump into what you can do right now to move forward in alignment with your higher self. So that is focusing more on kind of the tangible advice and how you can, like I said, kind of ensure that you're moving forward in alignment with your higher self. Thank you so much, Capricorn, as always, for your support of my channel. I do obviously hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And I hope that you get everything that you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Capricorn.